My name is Aisha.
I am PC John. I'm a Safer Schools police officer based at Uxbridge Police Station.
And I work for a charity called St Giles Trust. And what we do is we help deter and prevent young people from getting involved in criminal activity and gang violence. And we deliver sessions and basically rescue kids. So yeah, it's really good. County lines is when young people are being exploited, literally leaving major cities like London and Birmingham to sell drugs in rural townships around the UK. So the reason I use the word exploit, because even if a child thinks that they're willing to go and sell some drugs, which would be like cocaine and heroin, they've kind of been forced to or been tricked to do it. So
Okay, county lines is when, let's just say, a young person is involved in criminal activity and they are groomed by people within their area that they live in. Once they are groomed and they are ingrained in the gang, so to speak, they are moved out of their home area. Sometimes they are taken with the parents' knowledge. Sometimes they are taken without the parents' knowledge, taken to different areas that they have no knowledge about, they have no family there, and they are placed there to sell drugs. It can be any time, it could be weeks, it could be months. And once they've finished selling drugs, they will then come back to their area, sometimes.
My first experience when I was younger, I wanted money for clothes. So a boy asked me, do you want to go make some money in county? And all you have to do is just transport the drugs from here, like London, to an area outside of London, so maybe like Margate, for example, to sell some drugs. And I did that for the first time when I was like, maybe, I was like 15, 16. So yeah, that was my first encounter.
Since I've been working in my role, I know that county lines wasn't really a thing. I've been working in schools now for at least 12 years. And county lines has been something that wasn't known of or wasn't heard of. Yes, young people went missing, but we didn't really understand or didn't know what was actually happening. But county lines now has become so common. And I think it's because a lot of young people are left to their own devices, i.e. the world that we live in today, parents need to work more. There's less supervision at home. They have massive influences out there, like their friends. And I believe that it's happening more because there's a lot of more vulnerable children out there to be groomed, as opposed to years ago when mothers were at home more. You know, there's a lot of more broken families nowadays, and I feel like single parent families as well. Not that I'm saying a lot of young people go into crime because of single parent families, but when there's one person in the household working and they're not able to stay at home to look after their children as much, then they're left to their own devices, which leaves them vulnerable to get involved in things that they shouldn't be.
The tipping point for why county lines just didn't work for me no more, I'll be honest, was because my friends wasn't doing it. So because my friends wasn't trying to make money or going up to county to sell some drugs, I just thought to myself, well, if they're not doing it, I'm not gonna do it. Literally, I just thought to myself, they're my sisters and I was with them all the time. So I just thought, if they're not doing it, why am I doing it? So that's actually was the reason why I just thought, I'm not doing this. So my average day, I would say I was probably wake up in the morning, get a phone call, do you want to go make some money? Think, yes, I'm going. I didn't even think twice. Go and meet the person that I have to go and meet to go and collect the drugs. They would give me money to get on a train. They would pay for my train ticket and I'll sit on the train with the drugs and I'll make my way to whatever the county that I had to go to drop off the drugs and come back. But it was a very lonely journey. It wasn't like smartphone time, so my phone was really rubbish and I sat on that train for like 2 hours, hungry and bored because I didn't get food or anything, yeah.
In June 2021, a 9-year-old child was branded Britain's youngest crack cocaine dealer on the front of the Metro. Would police view this child as a victim of grooming or an actual criminal? And what would typically happen to this child in the system?
I would say that this child is a victim of grooming because it's not normal for a 9-year-old to understand or even know what it is to be a drug dealer and sell crack cocaine. The normal average person wouldn't even know how to start. Me being a police officer, I wouldn't even know where to start to do that. So they would be used as victims because, number one, of their age. He was only 9 years old. The age of criminal responsibility is 10. And obviously, if he's selling drugs, then there's somebody older in his life that has influenced him to do that. So he would definitely be classed as a victim. The violence and threats that's used towards young people is absolutely horrific. And I'm so glad now that the law has been changed and they now see young people as victims who have been groomed and used in county lines, because the threats are at a level that we can't even understand. People's families are threatened, their houses, the homes that they live in. Parents are told, even if they try and report their children to the police, that their house will be bombed or they would be killed, or something along those lines. But when they get to the house that they're staying in, there's no facilities for a young person. There's not a clean environment. They don't go from a home environment to another home environment. So they're living in squalor. They're living in a house maybe lived in by a drug user themselves. So they don't have any of the facilities they would normally have in their homes. They're not really fed properly. They are threatened that if they leave or run away, somebody will be hurt. They are physically assaulted. If they don't do what they're supposed to do, they are.
People that get targeted, I would say, I think it all depends on the environment. I would say that I'm a big product of my environment. So, and I feel like where you're from and who you hang with and who you talk to can make you a target. Because if you are somebody that, just literally just doesn't talk or tell people what's going on, or you do tell people what's going on and saying, my mom's like this, I don't have no money, someone can easily, that's making money from drugs, can target you because they know that you lack some sort of funds. So it could be anything, literally. Someone that's by themselves, someone that's really loud, someone that's really quiet. So yeah, it could be anything that can make you a target.
I would definitely say that young people are more afraid of their dealers than the police, purely because the police, there's a limit to what we can do as police. And it's very difficult. Don't get me wrong, there are things that the police can put in place to safeguard a lot of the victims and their families, but as a young person, they don't know this. They don't know that we do have things. We can move their homes, we can put them in safe houses, we can move their families. There's a lot of things that we can do, but young people don't know that. They just think that if they go to the police, they're going to go to court, and these people are going to get caught and probably not go to jail, and then their lives would be at risk. So I do believe that they are more scared of the drug dealers than the police.
The advice I would give, that it's definitely not worth it, because I always tell young people that drug users are so unpredictable. If they are desperate enough, they will do absolutely anything in order to get that drug, either from you, and they will do anything. They will use weapons, etc. And it's not worth it, because once your freedom's gone, it's gone. And yes, you can get it back, but the trauma is still there. The fact that you're on license, the fact that you've got a criminal record, all of that can affect you in your adult life when it's time to even go on a holiday and go out of the country. So,
somebody I know that was involved in county lines was a young student who was in one of my previous schools, and he wasn't a bad student, but he had issues at home, and I could see that the issues at home was affecting his life. Going to school was becoming an issue. He wouldn't turn up for school, he wouldn't engage in school, and he was constantly in trouble. The school then decided that they were going to exclude him. I spoke on his behalf to the school, and I pleaded with them to allow him to stay, because I knew that he was so vulnerable, and I knew from speaking to him, because I built up a relationship with him, that he was starting to hang around with elders, as what they say. He was then removed from his home address and he was placed into care. And while he was there, the situation got worse. He constantly became missing. And because I had a relationship with him, I would call him, even if it was my day off. They used to call me and ask me if I could call him and see if he would answer me, and I did. I called him and I said to him, come home. But he came home a few times, and whenever I would go to the care home and speak to him, because I still did keep tabs on him to see what was going on in his life. And he got arrested, and I found out that he had drugs on him when he was arrested. So after that incident, I went to the care home and I spoke to him and I said to him, what's going on? Like, how did this happen? And he said to me that the people that he was with, he went to Maidenhead, which again, he lived in London, so he had no ties in Maidenhead, he had no family there. He went to Maidenhead, and while he was there, he was in the house and he was cutting drugs up and then going out and selling drugs on the streets. The day that he got caught, they went to Westfields, I believe, and they went shopping. And one of the guys that were with him asked him to steal some clothing. But before he got to the shops, they gave him the weapons that they were carrying, like the knives. He had knives on him. So they all went in the shop together, but they asked him to steal the clothing from the store. And obviously he got caught for shoplifting. And when the police arrested him, they found knives on him. So after I spoke to him, I read the details of the crime that had happened. And after I spoke to him, I found out that in fact everything was on him, all the blame was on him. And so I explained to him that, you know, these people are not your friends. They've given you these things. They haven't even admitted to the fact that they gave you the knives to carry for them. They just said that you had these things and this is what you've been doing. And I think after that he realized that he was being used. And this story was actually a good news story, because then his parents got involved and they moved into Mauritius, and now he's in Mauritius, and I'm really happy about that. I was really disappointed by the external agencies, because I contacted external agencies to support him, because I knew that he was going to go down the road that he was going to go down. But because he has social workers in his life, no one would touch him. And it's frustrating for me as a police officer, because you can see it, you know what's going to happen, but sometimes we have so much limitations on us. There's only so much we can do. If other agencies are not taking on young people because one agency is already involved with them, our hands are tied completely. So that was one good news story that he left in the end. But there's loads of other children out there who don't have that good news story and don't have the family to support them and send them away when they get into trouble.
Okay, so the grooming line works like this. They will target you and find something. They will target your vulnerabilities. So they will target your vulnerabilities, and then that's what we call the target stage. And then it will move on to the friendship forming stage. So this is when they become your friends. They probably will start buying you things, start treating you really nice, do what friends do. Then it goes into the love and relationship stage. Doesn't always have to be like in the terms of relationship, but it could be in the terminology of like big bro, little bro, or big sis, little sis, and or that's my best friend, etc. And in that stage, in the love and relationship stage, it's a bit too late, because you're already really engrossed in this kind of person. You really know this person, you're really a part of this person's life, and they're a part of yours. You're probably telling them your secrets, etc., your deepest, darkest secrets. And then it turns to the abusive stage. So the abusive stage is like, it doesn't have to be physical whatsoever, but the simple fact that after manipulating you and making you believe that relationship is what it is, they might ask you to do something that you wouldn't do on a normal day, which you know or they know could get you in serious trouble. So it's more about, that's why we call it the abusive stage, because you can seriously get harmed by selling drugs. You can put yourself in a situation and make your life in danger. And it's always, with the grooming line, I always say that if anyone cares and loves and truly, truly cares and loves you, they'll never put you in a situation where you're in harm's way. And asking you to transport drugs or sell drugs, etc., can put you in harm's way, because you can accidentally take it, inhale it, and your body might not react to it as a normal person would.
Most young people that are involved in county lines are groomed. There's no young person that just picks themselves up with a load of drugs and just walks and goes to a different area and sell drugs, because they wouldn't know where to start. They wouldn't know how to base themselves. A lot of the young people, they're set up, and this happens all the time. So they're set up, they would give them a train ticket, let's just say to Birmingham, just say that Birmingham for instance, and they would give them a train ticket to Birmingham and they would say to them, you need to meet this person in Birmingham. When you get there, they would give them all the information, all the instructions, but when they get there, they're robbed. And the reason why they're robbed, and they're robbed by their same people that sent them to Birmingham, and the reason why they're robbed is because now they're debted to them. So now they say it's like £1,000 worth of debt, and you have to work this debt while you're away, and the debt never goes away, and they don't get paid for what they do. So now they're in a situation where they're working in an area in dire conditions with no money. So everything they do, they have to do it for free because they owe this debt. And obviously if anything happens, like they get arrested or anything like that, then sometimes the gang members, they would go to their families and say, your child owes us such and such amount of money. And it just continues and continues. And I think that's what the problem as well, in terms of, are they more scared of them than the police? Yeah, because they have a debt. And as a young person, somebody saying to you, if you don't pay this debt, we're going to kill you or we're going to harm your family, that's huge, especially if it's their parents. So that's an important part as well, because a lot of them are robbed and they are told that they have to work without no money.
With the job prospects and being a county line runner, should I say, because it wouldn't be an actual drug dealer, be the runner, they would get told that they're going to make, like, for example, £500 a week, but they won't get told the extent of like what they would have to go through. And the things that they'll have to go through will be like 24-hour shift, working for 24 hours for £100 a week, which is £100 a day, which is £500 a week. So it's like working maybe 24 hours. Then it's, you know, the locations may vary. So you might not be in London, you might be at the top of England. As far as that, having to sell some drugs. You won't be able to speak to your friends and family because you are constantly having to pick up the phone and answer to your drug dealer to sell some drugs. You might not get no medical treatment. So if something happens to you, like you are physically harmed or hurt, there's no such thing as A&E unless you're dying or something. But if you've just hurt yourself or they've injured you a little bit, it's more about you have to just manage and continue selling my drugs because that's what's more important. But when a drug dealer is selling themselves or selling the prospects of making money, they never talk about the actual dangers that involves in the actual selling drugs. They just talk about you're going to get £500 a week, but in reality, it's like £4.16 an hour, which is way below the minimum wage.
There's no typical young person. We've got all types of young people. We've got children from families who are on very, very low income, and we've got children from families who come from a very wealthy background. Sometimes it's just who you associate yourself with and the influences on their life. Sometimes they feel that they're lacking. A lot of the wealthier children want the excitement and enjoyment. They don't need the money, but they think that their life is boring because they have everything they want. So they just go out and just find their own fun. And they think going into that world will be exciting for them. From the poorer side, they go in for it for the money. They don't go in for the excitement. They're going for the money because they want what they see other people having. They want what they see on social media. They want that lifestyle. And they believe, and because on TV and social media, sometimes it's glamorized, they believe that if they go into this lifestyle, they would gain all the things that they want. My advice that I would give to any young person who wanted to get out of county lines, the first advice would be, is don't ever go in the first place. But if you do, my second advice will be, find the police, find the nearest police station, the nearest police car driving past you, the nearest police officer walking past you, because they would listen, they would understand the circumstances. You're not the first child and you definitely won't be the last child. Seek help because the help is there. We now see young people from county lines as victims, which is so, so, so good. There's nothing that you can tell us that we won't have already heard or understand or even believe, because that's another problem. A lot of young people think that we won't believe them. We will believe you. We'll 100% believe you. But I will say seek help, and get out as quickly as you can.
I would say talk to someone if you're trying to get out, because talking to someone that's got some morals and an appropriate adult, or someone that's a responsible adult, talk to them because they will find a way. Even if it's like you have no one, but social services or even your teachers or educational settings, someone will help. Or even if it's a cousin or something, an older auntie, they will help. They will find a way to help you get out of it because you can always get out. We have so much resources here, we can always get out. So if you're having any problems or need any assistance or someone to talk to, how to get through St Giles Trust is through our website, like www.stgilestrust.co.uk, or calling our number, going on our website, going on our Twitter, our Facebook. We have all of these pages and we're able to communicate, and we're in schools as well. We are very accessible, you can get access to us very easily, and our office is in Camberwell, South London, and if anyone's going for anything, you can pop in. So yeah.